Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
So based on the information that I've been hearing, I wanted to just read a story. So if you close your laptops for a minute. Think of yourself as the carpenter in this story. An elderly carpenter was ready to retire. He told his contractor of his plans to leave the house building business and to live a more leisurely life with his wife, enjoying his extended family. He would miss the paycheck, but he needed to retire. They could get by. The contractor was sorry to see his good worker go and asked if he could build just one more house as a personal favor. The carpenter said yes, but in time it was easy to see that his heart was not in his work. He resorted to shoddy workmanship and used inferior materials. It was an unfortunate way to end his career. When the carpenter finished his work and the builder came to inspect the house, the contractor handed the front door key to the carpenter. "This is your house," he said. "It's my gift to you." What a shock. What a shame. If he had only known he was building his own house, he would have done it all so differently. And now he had to live his life in the home that he had built none too well. So it is with us. We are building our lives in a distracted way, reacting rather than acting, willing to put up less than our best. At important points, we do not give the job our best effort. Then with a shock, we look at the situation we have created and find that we are now living in a house we have built. If we had realized, we would have done it differently. Think of yourself as the carpenter. Think about your house. Each day, you hammer a nail, you place a board, or erect a wall. So build it wisely. It is the only life you will ever build. Even if you live it for only one day more, that day deserves to be lived graciously and with dignity. The plaque on the wall says, "Life is a do-it-yourself project." Who could say it more clearly? Your life today is the result of your attitudes and choices in the past. Your life tomorrow will be the results of your attitudes and choices you make today. I look at you guys' tuition and it blows my mind. In the 80s, my husband went through dental school at $43,000 for 4 years of dental school. And that was approximately 35 years ago. And look at what you guys have now. I look at my own kids and think, how can they ever have taken care of that debt had we not helped them? You guys are paying a ton of money for your tuition. And yet sometimes I see you not taking advantage of what you could. "Oh, I got it. I don't have any questions. It's good. I got it. What's the minimum you could do?" I remember when I got out of school and I left the area, we moved to Guam. Now Guam is 8,000 miles from here. I had nobody there. I was the first registered dental hygienist on the island. And about 9 months into me being in Guam, in walks one of my faculty from Loma Linda, and I was like, "Oh, I have 50 million questions. Can you answer this?" And I thought, you have faculty here. I'm not talking about just me. Everybody that's around you as your faculty, eat up everything you can, because the day you get out, you're going to go, "Oh, I wish I would have asked Miss Lennon this. I wished I would have asked Miss Hayton this. I wish I would have asked." Use it. Use it to build your house now, so when you get out, that you're going to be able to have the information you need. Because I wish I could have asked a ton of questions. Now, back in the day, there was no email. Back in the day, it was $1 a minute for a phone call back to the States. So it's not as easily accessible. We didn't have such thing as Google. Oh, I'll just Google it and find out. Oh, let's go to YouTube. No such thing. I was scrambling. And I wasn't the top student. I wasn't the bottom student. I was probably in the upper middle as a student, with GPA coming in here. The average GPA for my class graduating from hygiene was 3.6. That's the average. Everybody in there was throats. They were working really hard. I mean, we had a ton of 4.0s in our class. It was really hard. But we worked hard and we got hard and we took advantage when we could. So I'm just asking you, take advantage. If you don't know, ask. Watch. Sometimes when a faculty is doing something or saying something with the patient, then you're off somewhere else. You don't get to hear that interaction and how we interacted. I know Christian and Emily had a really good experience just listening and putting together pieces today. And so I want to get you guys to kind of share some of your experience today and someone else. But before we do that, let's pray before we start. Father in heaven, thank you again for another day of clinic seminar. I pray that you'll be with us as we have our class today. Help us to try to grasp the information that's being presented so that we can use that to build our clinical house. We pray in your name, amen. Okay. Anyone have a really good clinical experience today that you want to share? Yes, Naveen.
Well, yes, kind of sharing tip. I had a patient that had to remain semi-supine, and the hardest part about that is your ergonomics and the seating position. So at the end, a faculty came to me and told me that because I was having such a hard time where I couldn't reach where I wanted to reach, couldn't figure out where to sit. And at the end, she told me, when that happens, just go ahead and stand up.
That's what I would tell you.
Yeah, so that helped. There was the end. But yeah, it even made my appointment go way slower because I was moving all the time trying to figure it out. And but yeah, just go ahead and stand up.
Okay, that's a nugget to put in here. If you can't do it sitting and you can't see, stand up. Stand up. Maddie.
I used my loops for the first time today.
How many used loops for the first time today? Okay, what do you think?
Love it.
Well, I was working and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing in my head. I was like, this is awesome. But then I got dizzy, but I was trying to push through, and then Miss Vidal was like, is this your first, she just looked at me and knew, she's like, this is your first time wearing loops, and I didn't want to, confirm in front of the patient, but I looked at her and went, I winked at her, yeah, of course, and she goes, all right, so wear it 20 minutes a day so you can get used to it, but you'll get it pretty quick. I was like, she knows.
So, when I got my loops, I had been practicing for more than 20 years. We didn't have loops back in the day. Okay, so when I first got them, I'm like, oh yeah, this should be a piece of cake because I'm clinically comfortable. But it did make you feel like, ooh, a little woozy a little bit at first. Did anyone else experience that who used
loops?
loops?
It was my hands, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't,
Oh, you didn't know where your hands were.
My the light was in the patient's eyes. I was like, I'm sorry, let's because I'm used to a certain working distance. But now that I'm closer, I'm now I have to I don't know, it's quick to learn, but it was definitely an adjustment.
Yeah. It is an adjustment. Anyone else have an interesting experience with loops? Loved it?
I mean, with mine, I just had to either look, when I looked straight, it was normal, but when I looked down, I could see it,
So you just have to get used to doing this.
Yeah.
Without doing this. Okay, because if you do that, you'll be off. So just eyes only. Anyone else? Ergonomics.
I think I kept getting my headlight into my patient's eyes because I would forget that I have it attached to my head.
That's common.
And, I'd look at them and I'd be aware after I did it, but I'm like, okay, I need to stop doing this, but I guess it's just a learning process.
Yep, it is. It is. Yeah, that'll come. Yes.
I really like doing the probing depths with that. It was way easier to actually see and get more accurate readings, and that's where I've been struggling a lot, and so I feel like that helped a lot.
Awesome. Good. All right. Those of you that didn't raise your hand for trying loops, are yours coming? Yes? Do you guys have loops coming?
I have it, but I haven't had a patient before again.
Okay. Use them around your house. Sew something. If you have to sew or do something in detail, try it just to practice. Yeah, getting distance and working. All right. Anyone else have a good clinical experience? Want to share? Okay. The reason why I bring this up in class, it's been brought to my attention, and I've known this for years and years and years. Most of you don't read your discussion board. Okay, you read, maybe you read the first ones around where you are, the ones behind you or in front of you, not the whole thing. The one thing I want you to do is at least before the end of the week, or by the end of the week, maybe Monday morning, if you see, just scroll down. If you see anything that I wrote, I'm writing in color. That's important. You got to know that, because people are asking all these questions. They're asking the same questions. And I put the answer in there. So you'll find the answer to something you're looking for or that you need to be aware of. Sandra.
I want to add something. Ask about your grades. Ask, like, why did you get this grade? What do you need to fix for it?
Are you talking about the end of your clinic day?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good one. Like,
Okay.
To me, it made a difference today.
Okay.
Just,
So did you get a grade that you didn't know why you got it?
yeah, but she made a mistake with other students. So I told her mine was done, and she changed the grade.
Okay. So, yes, always know. Usually I go over the grades with my students, those that have worked with you. I go over the grade, why you got what you got, and we talk about it. I said, how'd you do here? Yeah, 3. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so
Yeah, are we able to see our grades after leaving clinic?
absolutely. Go into evaluations in Axiom, pull up the dates you want to look at. So if you want to look at last quarter's grades, start from March 26 or 25 and do it to June 10 was the last day or something like that. You can see every grade you got from the beginning on.
You still don't see the comments, though.
You can, absolutely you can. The comments are there. You see the grades right there, and then just double click on the comments, and it will open right up. Yes, Sunshine.
When we meet with you to do our individual meeting, are we going over each grade or as a whole?
We're doing, I'm going over each of the grades. You know, you got 9 out of 10 for health history. You can see all that. I'm not spending a lot of time. That's about 30 seconds. And then I'm going over what the faculty are giving recommendations for you or what we're thinking. For example, we really appreciate your openness to learning. We really appreciate you getting out of your comfort zone. Or, you know what? You talk really loud on clinic and everybody 2 rows down can hear you. So I'm giving you comments both ways. Nothing is to pick on you to say, oh, we don't like you. No. What we're doing basically is I have a computer and everybody's saying, oh, da-da-da, and I'm just typing away. Most of them are not my comments. Most of them are coming from them and I'm just typing. So that's where I'm getting a lot of the information. Some things like someone I did just recently said, we have seen you grow from the beginning of the quarter to the end of the quarter. That's huge. If I see you growing, awesome. You're following the path. It's good. So I have seen probably 6 or 8 of you out of 40. So please stop by sometime. I will be in my office Friday morning. I will be in my office all Thursday morning if you get a break. Or I'm usually here between 7:30 and 7:40. So if you can catch me, and I could do 3 of you or 4 of you in the morning before dental materials, that will be a good time tomorrow. Okay?
Can some of us spill over into the next week?
You're going to have to because we're not going to be able to do that. Okay. And then, Hillary, did you have an announcement to make for your little... Yes.
Okay. They already know they're coming. If some of the person already talked to me in person.
Okay.
So I just want you guys to bring something. Remember, and if you guys think about it, like put it on the under the potluck section, so we all know that you're gonna bring something, or you have to provide other things. You know, after the potluck, I made a invitation.
That's fine. Whatever you decide. I'm just hosting it for you guys and doing that. I'm making something too. I just want to make sure that we have enough foods. And if you feel like, oh, I'm just a mush, what do I bring? I'm English, I'm Irish, I don't cook anything. Bring something, a can of something, whatever. We don't care. We're just going to eat.
Right here.
Hey, we're going to just eat and enjoy it. So,
And then we also invited faculty. So they're gonna see us if you guys join to the spicy noodle challenge. They're gonna see us. And then Miss Lee wanna join that too.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
So yeah, just probably everyone else bring something.
Okay. Any questions about clinic? Because I'm going to switch gears. Yes.
I have like a comment kind of about clinic. For if you're gonna go in and get like if you want to take an X-ray on a dental patient, there like you could go to the wellness clinic where we were at, and then like just kind of ask around like, does anybody need an X-ray type of thing, and you need their chart number. And you need to go to Jeanette. Like, don't go to the main office lady up there. You could, but Jeanette knows like exactly what you need, exactly what to put in, and it will be very like way faster to go to Jeanette. She'll like put you down and everything, and like kind of memorize the chart number because you're gonna go type it in radiology. And so just make sure your name is under the like user/clinician right there on Axiom, because if not, then it's like we can't do anything. But just go straight to Jeanette, and she'll like fast track you. And at radiology, they want you to wait at on the wall. So if you haven't gone up to radiology yet, like wait by the wall right there on that by the computer. Otherwise, yeah. So just FYI.
Okay. Miss Lee, I have a question.
Yes.
So, for the denture comp, is that going to still happen in the wellness clinics?
No, that's a good question. So in the middle aisle of main clinic, there's an ultrasonic there that you could put your dentures in if you need to clean. So there isn't one in our clinic per se, but it's on the main clinic aisle, big ultrasonic. You could just do your stuff there.
I just had one last comment because we just lost 2 people, and I'm sure everybody knows that. So, like, I feel a little uneasy with it all, and I don't think we all know like all the information, but it almost seemed like with our grades and stuff, how we can get a 3 out of whatever 10 or whatever. Is there a moment where they are going to warn us that we're like on that? We're kind of looking at you, or do we need to constantly be going to you guys and asking you guys, or looking at our thing? I mean, I know that's the smartest thing to do is to look at our evaluations and do it on our own. But like from our standpoint, I don't speak for everybody, but it just kind of seemed like there wasn't like, they didn't say you're on the verge and so you're getting close to this. It almost seemed like to them, and I get emotional because we just talked to one of the girls and it's just really sad.
I know.
Because it's like your whole life, you know, so. I just, for myself, I get a little nervous too. Like, could any of us be next? I mean, we all feel a little uneasy, and it's just like, what's the best thing that we can do so that it doesn't happen to one of us?
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry too. This is hard for us too. We prayed intensely about it before the meeting that we had, and I'm going to say that you will know. You will know whether or not you're in trouble. Okay. Thank you.
The only reason I get emotional is because I spoke to one of them yesterday, and she just seemed so caught off guard, and it was just like, watch out, because you just don't know.
That's not true.
She didn't say that, but it was just, you know, I just wanted to bring it up. It's like the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. And okay, good to know. Thank you.
You know, not to say that any of these people are not good people. It may be just not a good fit. Hand-eye coordination, there's more than just your grades involved in this. So I just want you to be aware, it's not just your grades. It's can you function? Do you know which way is up and out and in and back and all of that stuff? It's directional. It's can you follow directions? Can we give you directions to giving an injection or using your Explorer? Okay, what is your motion for using an Explorer? Is it this? Or is it this? Okay. Do you know that? Can you do it? Awesome. Then none of you are going to be gone. Okay. It's just lots of things that you don't even know, and it's not just grades. It's not just grades. And you will have had somebody have a conversation with you prior. So you will know. Don't worry. I don't see any problems here right now. I would tell you. That's why I'm having you come in and let's talk. Because the faculty have listed things out so that I can share those with you. And they're not coming from me, it's coming from everybody that was there at that meeting. Okay? All right. So I want to do a couple of things, only I am not getting on my screen what I need to. Okay. I'm sending it to the projector, and the projector is on, so what is the deal? It says the projector is on. This is 11:02, correct?
Yes.
Couple of things that we talked about for clinic. I wanted to show you exactly where some of these things are. Do all of you know where to find the comp forms? Hi, Ellen and Shirley. I'm in 11:02, and I'm trying to connect my computer.
I don't know what the new
It's not connected. I have the HDMI connected, but it's not projected. Projector doesn't seem to be on. It says close projector. It's okay. Call him, send him over to 11:02. I've got a whole class full of students. Thank you. Okay. Can someone stand outside and see if Richie's out there from Computer Services? Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Where are the comps paper?
I'm going to show you.
Oh, okay. Where do you say?
I took a bunch of photos, and I'm trying to get the photos in here, but it doesn't seem to be. And the projector says it's on, so I don't know what the deal is. Okay. Full screen, there it is. I see it. There we go. Okay. So this is where the sign-up sheet is going to be for Dr. Jewel. Jeanette came with a form so that Dr. Jewel can't, she's all over the place now. We can't really find her or see her. So she has a little sign-up sheet. So if you go by chairs 115 to 110, every individual one up here? I guess I do. Okay, I'm going to switch gears here. See this little desk that you pass before you get in? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that little desk, next to it has a cart. Cart right there has all the competency forms in it. I guess I have all these windows open that I won't. I didn't get a chance to put it into a PowerPoint. But next to the desk is this little hygiene cart. Inside that drawer has all your competencies. They're all labeled. I wish we could have it in a shelf because we know what color we want and we just pull it out. But now we have to look, and it's alphabetical, so you can find your comp forms in there. So, that's where you're going to find those. Also, right on the wall, when you walk in, there is this little chair. Jeanette says she's going to put your chair seating assignment right on top of that. So just before you walk through the hallway to go into that door, that's where she's going to put your chair assignments. She's also going to put, so that's going to tell you who your faculty is going to be, what you read. She's also going to add floaters in there because she didn't add floaters in here today and it was confusing. So she said she will add you in as your typodont. Okay. Going back in again, back to the Dr. Jewel thing. She said, right by the chair 115, whatever I had right there, there's an amalgamator right here in the little cubby hole. She's going to have a list right here, so you can put your chair number and what you need done, so that you don't have to find her. Go to that sign-up sheet. Okay, so I'm trying to get that clear. So if you look for this sign, the 115 to 110, right below that is going to be that amalgamator. Right there, and then the clipboard will be right there. Will that help you? Okay. Also, comp forms, chair assignments. The faculty asked that you remember what 4s and above means. Who can tell me what charting 4s and above means? What are you charting?
So you still have to go through and probe everything, but you only chart things that are 4 and above.
Okay. So that's probing. What else do you have to do? Recession, frication, cal. So you do all the data, but you only have to record 4s and above, bleeding, and anything that's changed from before. So if your frication is still a 1, just leave it. Just only record changes or 4s and above and bleeding. Okay? Treatment plan. We're going to go over case presentation and treatment planning. In the future, we got it, Ricky. In the future, we're going to talk about it in detail because the number one thing that I went from last week's discussion board, how to fill out that case presentation form. People don't know how to do it. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing. So I'm going to ask Christian and Emily to tag team and talk a little bit about what your experience was this morning.
All right. So I had a patient today on a perio maintenance, and just talk about the case presentation part of it. Okay, and then
How it tied together, how it made sense to you, like what you didn't understand, and now you're like, oh, your eyeballs are open.
Gotcha. So when we and Emily were going through it, we filled it out and everything, and we knew what we were doing, but when Miss Lee came back to help us out on it, she made us critically think why something happened. How do you want to say it?
Like, she put all the pieces together to, like, create one, like...
Why it affected it.
Correct. So here's an example. Christian marked upper and lower anterior was boggy, inflamed, the papilla and the marginal gingiva. So I asked him, why do you think it's boggy or inflamed? Only in the upper and lower anterior.
The patient breathed from the mouth? No.
That's exactly right. Okay, so I asked the patient, do you by chance, are you a mouth breather? And he said, yes, I use a CPAP machine at night. All day, all night long, drying out that tissue. Okay? That's exactly right, Sarah. Wonderful. So you want to know, why is it only red here, upper and lower anterior? So you start tying all the pieces together. Okay, so I'm going to give you something else that you could tell. I didn't tell the patient this time. We were overloaded with a lot. You can tell a patient to put Vaseline on his gums, upper and lower anterior, so to prevent it from drying out at night. Okay. What else did you notice? Emily?
I have a massive headache right now.
I'm sorry.
Okay. The main thing that I took from it was creating that diagnosis at the end, like putting all the pieces together and creating the final diagnosis. That really stuck with me. Other than that, OHI.
Well, for OHI or for something?
Yeah.
OHI will, Ms. Lee, well, the patient used an electronic toothbrush at home, which he didn't bring, and we didn't have one here, so he can demonstrate the OHI on us. So he was going to bring it back the following visit. But we kind of went over the manual toothbrush, and we showed him like how to use a manual toothbrush.
But was he doing a good job? He
Yeah,
had a
he
plaque
was doing a
score
good
of
job.
95%. 95%. But he was using an electric toothbrush, right?
Yeah.
And when he demonstrated the hand brush, he was doing pretty good. So what was the problem?
So he was using it the same way as a manual toothbrush and didn't let the actual electronic toothbruch do its job, like go from posterior to anterior, and move.
So he was doing
automatically.
this. Okay, can you see how he's getting this and not getting the whole thing? So he was totally missing it. So part of the critical thinking is, why is he looks like he's demonstrating it really well, but he's using an electric toothbrush, but he has a 95% plaque score. There's a disconnect there. He's doing it okay, what's the problem? So then I asked him, what are you using at home to brush your teeth? Oh yeah, I'm using an electric toothbrush. Okay, then I go, oh, he's using it like a regular brush. So you kind of have to be detectives of why patients are like they are and what you can do to fix it. That's your job. And part of the treatment plan is to figure out, okay, he's got a pocket here, he's got red tissue here, but why only here? So you're a detective trying to figure it out and then offer a solution.
So do you want us to find out first, like, what kind of toothbrush he's using before we actually demonstrate on, like, the Typodon?
Absolutely. Because why do you want to demonstrate on a Typodon if they're not using it?
Yeah.
Okay. You might use it, like in this particular case, I showed him and I actually had him feel what it feels like to put his toothbrush up at an angle and to massage the tooth and gum at the same time. He went, oh, I'm not angling it up there. It doesn't feel like this. I said, just take your electric toothbrush and angle it up there. And he goes, oh, yeah, he totally made the connection now. He goes, I was just kind of just randomly doing that. So yes, that's one of the things. Before I start OHI, I get information. I talked about that last week in class about what you can do to actually help your patient and help you help your patient. So what are you doing at home to take care of your teeth? Are you brushing? Yeah, I'm brushing. Are you using a manual toothbrush, an electric toothbrush? How often are you brushing? Oh, I'm brushing once a day. So even the gentleman said, I said, how often are you brushing? He said, once a day. I said, okay, so what, and then he said, well, what's the minimum? What do you think I said? 2. I said, the minimum is 2 times a day. Why? Because you want it clean when you go to bed, because when you sleep, your saliva's decreased, your mouth gets dry, and the bacteria go to town. Because they're going, hey, free for all. The tongue's not moving. There's no saliva. Let's go. And they start growing, growing, growing. So in the morning, you want to get them up, clean that off, get it gone for the day. If they get a chance to brush at noon, great. Then at night, you're going to take it off again. So you start on a clean slate. So the bare minimum is twice a day. Okay, Nadine.
In regards to the case presentation, I think it's a good idea to go over that because I had a case presentation from one of the faculty members. She helped me through last quarter, and I wrote down except patient information, like how to go over it, and it was different. So Ms. Ellington told me that was wrong.
Okay.
And
we can talk about that. I'm going to have a whole lecture on it. I already changed some of the schedules that I already posted from the beginning. And also the number 2 thing people wanted to do, and I'm listening, is they want to go over anesthesia. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel class maybe once or twice, take us to clinic if we can find some clinic chairs, and let's just go over some fulcrums. Let's just go over doing injections. Would that help?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the 2 things is case presentation, treatment planning, which I will go over. I'm going to modify my schedule. And the second one is anesthesia. Okay. I'm listening to you. I'm trying to help you. So that's what came up, number 1 and 2 on that. All right. Let me switch gears, and we're going to talk about our adult prophy competency that's coming up. So I want to share with you a couple of pictures of China, when I was working in China. That thing up on the top, that's an old ultrasonic pedal. They were using an ultrasonic with that pedal, and it was like, oh my gosh, this thing is ancient. It looks like something out of space. But these are some of my students. They're lovely. Over there, they dress up in full gowns. So they've got shields. They've got little caps. The gowns go almost all the way down to their knees, and the whole bit. But it was fun working there. So I worked there for a week, and then I worked in another school for a week. We're opening a dental hygiene school there at a community college. So let's talk about the adult prophy competency. We have to say that you're able to do an adult prophy, so you're from accreditation. And part of your clinical experience is being able to do one. And that includes scaling and root planing. The course goal right here is for you to be able to do entry-level hygiene. And one of them is adult prophy. Okay, and that's one of them. So the adult prophy is going to be given on August 22 and 23. You will pick one of those dates. One is a Thursday afternoon, one is a Friday morning. Okay. So here's what we're looking for. You are looking for a patient that has little or minimum to no supra or subcalculus, although they can have some, with healthy AAP 1 or 2 gingiva, very minor gingival inflammation, because you don't want a ton of bleeding on this exam. And here's what the criteria would be. They have to be at least 16 years of age and have competent to be able to sign a consent, and if they're under 18, have the parents sign for minors. ASA 1 or 2, no medical, physical, or psychological conditions that require a medical consult that day. If you need one, you can have it ahead of time. If you have to have normal antibiotic pre-med because they have a heart issue or some other issue, you can do it. They can have it pre-med if you need to. But ASA only 1 or 2. They should be dentally cleared, meaning they can't have any acute or active hard or soft tissue pathology. In other words, they can't have an abscess in their mouth. Okay. No gross caries or giant restorations with overhangs. No, you can use a patient that has crowns. Just make sure they're not overhanging crowns. Implant teeth are acceptable as long as the patient has 20 natural teeth. Other than that implant. And the x-rays must be current. They have to have a minimum of 24 teeth. If there's no upper or lower dentures, patients will be accepted. So they can't have dentures. Patient category 1 or 2, little or no sub or supercalculus, AAP we talked about, no acute gingivitis, no NUG, and not treatment plan for root planing. They should be treatment plan for an adult prophy. So here's what you need to do prior to your test date. Let's say you have a patient, you're going to do your normal health history vitals, EOIO, your normal check-in, you're going to take your regular radiographs, you're going to pull out your data, do your data collection, fill out your case presentation form if you need to, 4s and above, if not, full data. Then, if you think the patient qualifies, you can talk to your patient. Hey, I'm having an exam on cleaning someone's teeth on August 22 or 23, and I would like to use you as one of my patients. Would you be willing to come in one of those days and let me do a test on you? Just make sure it's okay. Once the patient is available at one of those 2 times, then you can make sure that you, on the way out, that you book that patient into the slot that you want them in. First come, first serve, meaning if everybody has, if we only take 20 for the morning, then you need to move them to the afternoon. So get your patient as soon as you can and move them in. If you have a problem and somebody can't come that day, talk to me and I'll see what I can shuffle around so that we can accept that patient. Christian?
For example, if we bring a friend in for a cleaning next week and we start working on them, are we able, do we tell them, so we do that, we can start the treatment that day and bring them in?
No, so what you would be doing is collecting data, doing OHI, doing all the stuff up until the point where you're going to clean their teeth.
Okay, and then just finish the treatment that day, this day?
Yes.
So the comp is just the cleaning?
Just the cleaning.
Sweet deal. So
Yeah.
then you have a lot of, okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Sarah?
Can we use Cavitron or an instrument on the
Hand instruments only. I'm getting there. No ultrasonics.
Oh.
That's why I wanted light. And here's the reason why. You can use somebody that has a supercalculus because that's a prophy. It could be. But the more stuff that's there, the more chance you have to miss. Okay, that's why I'm giving you a hint on what we're looking for. Choose your patient wisely. Somebody last year or 2 years ago said, oh, I want to use my husband. Okay, well, he has a little bit more calculus than you want. Oh, no problem, I'll take care of it. They already set themselves up to miss way more than somebody that doesn't have a lot. So set yourself up with a nice, easy, simple prophy.
Are the patients paying when they come?
Yes, because, yeah, it's $24.
Okay.
Okay? All right, here's some more prior to that day. After you've collected all your data, have your dental hygiene faculty accept your patient or reject your patient for an adult prophy. There is an adult prophy pre-approval form. They will be up in the clinic floor in that little folder up there. Bless you. Bless you. And have them sign it. So we know that that patient's been looked at. The faculty said, yes, this patient's okay. Before we had this pre-approval form, we'd have people bringing all kinds of people in, and we're like, oh, there's so much calculus in here. Did your faculty look at this? So we want to make sure it's okay and a good candidate for you. So I want to set you guys up for all of you to pass this exam. Okay, Naveen?
So I have a question. Say we couldn't find someone with light calculus, and we got someone with moderate to heavy calculus. Will we be able to just quad instead?
Nope. That's why I'm telling you now. Look for your patient. I'll tell you where to find them too. Okay. You're going to have the patient sign the consent form after you get it in Axiom. You're going to do your plaque score and your OHI. This is what your pre-approval form looks like. The faculty has to sign, and they're going to sign an initial that all of this stuff is clear. All right? Hang on to that pre-approval form. Take it to Jeanette. Say, I got this. Da-da-da. And then once you do that, we'll put AM or PM on the form. Then I know if you're doing it Thursday or Friday, and then that form goes to me. put it in my box so I know, okay, Maddie has a patient. Okay, Adele has a patient. Okay, and then I can figure out who doesn't and see if I can help you find something. Okay. Prior to test day, still, you're going to document in your progress notes that you're using this patient for an adult prophy competency. You're going to finalize everything, make sure everything is signed in Axiom, ready to go. Escort your patient, get a date. Then, on the day of your exam, you're going to seat your patient, do health history vitals, EOIL, document everything that you normally would in Axiom, and then tell your faculty once they've checked the health history vitals EOIL, then she'll keep time. You get 2 hours. Scale, polish, floss, redisclose, polish again if you need to.
Are we gonna be getting checked by the instructors?
Oop, you get 2
Okay.
hours straight. Go straight through. We're gonna do one check at the end. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the final check at the end, if there is any missed areas,
We'll tell you, go back and scale it.
okay, then we can still pass.
I'm gonna show you the grade form. It's coming up. It's me.
Is the person that we're bringing, can it be somebody that we've brought before in the past?
Can be.
Okay.
Sure. Sure. Naveen?
How about anesthesia? They won't be needed.
No anesthesia, no competencies. We do not have time.
The day they get pre-assessed, we can like knock out a few of those.
Absolutely.
Because yeah, you don't have anything
If
else
it's
to
your
do.
friend, yeah. Family member, yeah. Okay.
Oh, they have to come.
So when we're bringing
Yeah.
someone in, so if we're gonna try to get like the EOIO and the, not the EOIO, but like the, can you do for the assessment? Is it, man, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard
That's
time
okay.
phrasing my question. So they have to come in for one day to get
Data
assessed.
collection, yeah.
So that's just data.
Mhm.
And then what's the time difference between that? Do we have to do it like the week before, or is there gonna be a day to do it?
No, you do whenever, from now on, start getting,
Okay, so we
lining up
have
your
to,
patient.
we have to do that, okay. But we won't have to redo it if it's like more than a couple weeks or something, okay.
Okay? Because they're adult prophy, so hopefully there's not any problems. No?
How about if they're like, maybe like 3 months that you check or that they came? Do you still have to do everything? Like you have to?
So 3 months ago,
Yeah.
they're almost like that's another thing, and I'll show you on there.
Okay.
They have to not have had their teeth clean within the last 5 months. Okay? It's not someone you just clean and then you're going to clean them again.
Okay.
They legitimately need to have a prophy. Okay. So here's what it looks like. If you pass, if you miss 2 pieces of calculus, marginal pass, you can be 2 to 4. If you miss more than that, you fail that section. Stain, same thing, plaque, trauma. We're looking for trauma. We want to make sure that you are able to adapt that instrument and that you're safe cleaning your adult prophy with hand instruments. Okay. Yes.
Can we use each other if somebody?
No. Okay, where to find a patient? Your bigs. Every big, almost, I'm going to say more than 50% of the bigs use bigs from the previous year, and they always use bigs from the previous year. So your bigs most likely have used their bigs. So they will most likely sit for your exam if they're available. If they're in the area, just call them up and say, hey, I'm looking for an adult prophy competency patient. Could you come in on blah, 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 blah. They'll have to come in one time for data and one time for the cleaning. They all a lot of them used their bigs, and it happens that way every year because most of them are not licensed to work yet by this time. Some of them are still waiting to take their ethics. Some people are still waiting for this. So contact your big and say, hey, I need you.
Do you know, like, as far as like a pattern, do the bigs pay for it, the $24, if you know, anything about that?
Well, you could probably work that out however you want to. I think it's $24.
I just didn't know
It's
how they
$24.
passed, how they did it.
Yeah.
I guess they would tell us.
Yeah. But the difference is now you guys don't have an account.
Yeah.
They pulled that account, but I just got an email. I'm going to read that to you in just a little while ago. If there's an emergency in your family and you need something, they're going to let you petition to see if you could get something paid for your family, but it's like basically emergency stuff only. Okay, Christian?
If they have insurance, that is just like a normal
Yep, they cover insurance.
Okay.
Yep.
What if our patient doesn't show up for our exam days? I mean,
We're gonna pray your patient shows up. Let's don't think that. But if they don't, you have to take it before the end of the quarter in order to pass my class.
Okay, just so before the end of the quarter, and it could be on like a specific date.
Yeah, we'll have to talk, but usually I've never had to do that unless somebody failed. And last year someone failed. I think there were 2 that failed because they chose the wrong patient. And it was because of calculus. There was lots of calculus in there. So be careful what you choose. Right? So, your bigs, family, friends, you could even have a clinic patient. Some people use clinic patients that happen to be in their chair, and you got data done and all this, and say, hey, I'm going to take a test on this date. Would you be willing? Yes, Naveen?
So I think my patient might qualify for this that I saw today.
Okay.
And she might be coming in Friday. So she comes in Friday.
So what did you do on her today?
Data collection, some x-rays, and that was about it.
So I would talk to your faculty because I don't know. But we're kind of far out, so she may not want to wait, until August to get her teeth cleaned. I don't know. Is it a friend of your family or?
No, she's just.
Yeah. So it's kind of talk to your faculty because I wasn't there. All right. Anyone else on adult prophy? Y'all know what you're looking for? Okay. So good. Are you guys good without a break? If you just need to leave, and we're going to keep going. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is eligibility. Scaling and reclaiming. Another thing that people wanted some information on is tell us about all the requirements that I need. Okay, I hope my posting that was in color that you were able to see. If you go on your comp form, you could see everything that's required. If you look down that first row, everything that's required of you during your first year. Okay, and during your first junior clinic. Then the rest is broken down by quarters. Hopefully that helps with that. But you are going to be required to do an eligibility sometime this summer, mid to end of summer, or the fall, whenever you can get it done. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So what is an eligibility? It is basically to determine whether you're ready or not to take your CBCs. I venture to say that nobody is ready to take a CBC today. Okay, but you will be towards mid to end of summer, fall. It's kind of an informal testing, so there's no date to do it, but you can find a patient that qualifies, and I'll give you all the qualifications. You can tell your faculty, today I'm going to do my eligibility. I'm doing an eligibility. And then they'll test you right there at your chair. You have to complete 2 eligibility patients by the end of fall quarter. I'm giving it to you now just so you can start looking. And if a patient happens to drop into your chair that happens to have calculus for this, you could do that. By the end of fall quarter, you should have those 2 eligibilities done. That will deem you eligible to start taking CBCs in the fall, the end of fall. Everybody know what CBCs are? Okay, they're clinical board competencies. It's a mock board exam to prepare you to take the board exam. So what are you going to look for an eligibility? You're going to look for a patient with 10 pieces of moderate to heavy clickable calculus. It could be in one quadrant. It can be in a couple of quadrants. Okay. So what are you going to do prior to testing? You're going to do all your assessments like you normally do, your health history, your vitals, your EOIO. You're going to do a data collection and a treatment plan with all the standard protocols. You're going to do your plaque score, and you're going to do your OHI. And then you're going to stop right there. And I should have put prelim assessments. You need to have radiographs too that are current. If they had some done 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 9 months ago, you don't need to take any new ones. You just have to have had them, and I should add that to here. And then you're going to do a little calculus assessment, and you're going to chart where the calculus is. So a calculus assessment form is up in that file cabinet. It's green. You're going to look, and you're just going to put where the calculus is. Okay, it looks like this quadrant right here qualifies because I've got 10 pieces of calculus in that quadrant. But this one doesn't qualify because it doesn't have enough. But maybe I can combine 2 quadrants to give me my 10 pieces of calculus. You're going to work it out with an instructor. We don't expect you to do it by yourself, but we want you to chart your calculus, and the faculty will check it too. And they'll go, yep, you're right. I think this quadrant will work for your eligibility. So on the day of your test, you can inform your instructor at your huddle that you're ready. You're going to do an eligibility patient. Do your health history vitals, EOIO. You're going to just discuss with the faculty which teeth would be eligible for testing from your previous calculus assessment. So don't throw that paper away. You got to keep it. Put it in your cleaner binder. And then the faculty will help you to determine whether this is a full eligibility, because if it has 10 pieces, or only a half eligibility because it has 5. On the testing day, you can use your ultrasonic, you can hand scale, you could do your quadrant and maybe a tooth if you need to add 1 or 2 to get you to your 10 pieces. You have 2 hours to remove 10 clicks of calculus, 1 hour for 5, etc. Okay. The instructor is going to evaluate you on how well did you take off the calculus and the plaque and all of our calculus. We're going to grade you on tissue trauma, on your charting where the calculus is, and your critical thinking on what you did on that day. Here's what an eligibility form looks like. For example, this tells you what it takes for a competency, and then you're going to chart out there's a calculus here. These 2 dots right here, those are just rough pieces, but they're smaller. But these C's are heavier calculus. And then the faculty will shade it in if you miss that piece of calculus. So on this patient, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces, 10 pieces of calculus. Okay, they missed 2 pieces of calculus, and then this area, they said it was roughness, and they passed. And then you just put, you did 1 quadrant of 10 pieces. It was a category 3, AP 3. How many residual calculus after check? So there were 2 pieces of sub, 1 supra, and 2 little rough pieces. Area of tissue trauma 1, charting discrepancies, there was 1. And so this counted as 1 eligibility. And the comment they made is roll your Explorer into the 51% and open the blade angle so you have a good cutting edge. Yes?
Instead of 2 patients, can we do 2 quads and 1 patient?
No, we want you to do it on a different patient so you get a different perspective. Good question.
So we need to find 2 eligibilities by the end of this quarter?
Fall
quarter. Find 2, not complete 2.
Well, find them and complete.
Find and complete, okay.
Sunshine?
Are we able to give injections for the?
Yes, because this is probably root planing. Yes. So here's the deal. In walks Joe Blow. Joe Blow has clickable calculus in 4 quadrants. Okay? 4 quadrants. You could use Joe Blow for eligibility. You could use Joe Blow for CBC. You could use Joe Blow for your SRP comp, and I'm going to talk about that next. because you're going to have an SRP comp in the fall in your senior clinic. So you can use all three, and you could use Joe Blow to share with somebody else, the fourth quadrant. Injections, all of those. So see how one patient can cover your eligibility, your SRP, and a CBC. Okay, and then you take the extra and either practice on it or share it with somebody else so they can share back with you. Rachel?
When you say CBC, what do you mean?
The mock boards, the clinical boards.
Okay, so we could save that patient with all that calculus from now till mock boards.
Well, because what's going to happen is you're going to still do, you still have OHI, you still have a bunch of data, you still have eligibility to do on him before you get to the CBC. You can use an SRP comp, so it's summer, fall, and you can use all of that.
Okay, and so CBC is
in the fall, starts in the fall.
In the fall. Okay, so what's the acronym for normal boards? Just boards.
Rev. Credits.
Cool.
Yeah, boards. They just call it boards. Yes.
For our CBCs, are we also only doing one quad?
It could be one quad plus whatever a couple of other teeth if you need. You get an option 1 and an option 2. And Miss Ellington will go over that more in detail. Yes?
So let's just say we have a patient and we notice we have a considerable amount of clicks. Do we have to set a different date to do an
Eligibility?
Yes.
You could do an eligibility that day if you have time.
Okay.
You can at least start it.
Okay.
You may or may not have time depending on where you at clinic.
Okay.
Okay? Or you could collect the data, then have them come in for the eligibility, have them come in for the SRP comp in the fall, have them come in for the CBC.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can share it with a friend and give them the other eligibility. You can share it with 2 friends to give them 2 eligibilities, and maybe they'll find one and shoot you an SRP comp or a CBC. You must work together or you will not get out of here on time. You have to share. And I'll give you an example of someone who didn't. We had an older student. She was in her 40s one year, and it was all about her. Everything was about her. She never shared. A couple of days before her boards, she had secured a board patient early on, was all proud of it, never helping. A couple of days before the board, she lost her board patient. Do you know nobody in her class wanted to share? Because what goes around comes around. I'm telling you guys have to share. You have to work together as a team. Hey, who needs? Post on your Facebook. Who needs this? Who needs this comp? Hey, I have a comp. I'm willing to share. Do you want to do, who's available to do an IA? Who needs an IA? Who needs this? I want you guys all finish on time, but you got to help each other. Right? So after, this is how you complete that patient. You're going to remove any residual calculus that the faculty said, hey, you missed. You're going to complete your eligibility form with your faculty. Turn that comp form into my box. And even if you don't pass, turn in the comp form. The reason why is then I can be able to track that and I could go to bat for you when we go to academic review. I say, but she did this, she attempted. It's not like she was just being lazy and never did one or never found a patient. She's working on it, she's missed all the distals on this side. The second time she took it, maybe she didn't pass again, but you know what? She missed 1 or 2, but she's getting better. After you finish 2 eligibility patients, you are now eligible to take a CBC come fall quarter. Okay. So don't rush on this, but if the patient happens to come across your board, you're familiar with what you need. Okay. So here's what's coming ahead. I'm not going to talk in detail about these, but this is what's coming ahead, because everybody wants to know, what do we need to look for? Here you go. Your senior year, you're going to have to do an SRP comp, and that's on a certain day. I think it's over 2 days. You could pick a date, but you have to take it on a specific date, and you have to take 2 CBCs. And then you're going to screen for boards. That's what's coming ahead of you. So your SRP comp, this is going to be in the fall. This is what was required last year. I don't know if anything's going to change, but this is what you're looking for. It's a specific date. You can use the same patient as your eligibility, just a different quadrant. You're looking for someone now with 12 pieces of clickable calculus. 6 of them must be moderate. The remaining pieces can be lighter. 1 quad is best, but you can add up to 4 teeth to get 12 pieces if you need to. So you could do 1 quadrant plus 4 teeth down here. Or 1 quad here and 4 more teeth over here to get your 12 pieces. You'd have to have 1 permanent molar with a proximal contact. So let's say they only have 1 molar in this quadrant, but they're missing a premolar and they're missing a back molar, and it doesn't contact anything, you can't use that patient. They want the interproximals to jet up against each other. Okay. You can have a minimum of 6 natural teeth, and at least 3 pieces of the 6 have to be on your molars. Maximum of 4 pieces can be located on the lower anterior. So you can't just have only lower anterior, right? There is an SRP pre-approval form for that too. Ms. Ellington will talk to you about it. And then on the day of your SRP comp, you're going to do the prelim health history vitals EOIO. It's timed. You get 2.5 hours to scale, polish, and floss. SRP, that 1 quadrant or whatever your 12 pieces are. Okay, that's just what's coming. I'm not freaking you out, but just preparing you. A CBC, it's a more specific formal testing date. You're going to look for a patient that's board quality-ish. You must pass 2 of those in order to graduate. What are you going to look for now? 13 pieces of moderate to heavy clickable calculus. Preferably in 1 quadrant, but you can add a couple of other teeth more if you need to. Current radiographs, paraconsult, all of that stuff, plaque score, OHI, all have to be completed before that test date. Same stuff. On the day of the test for your CBC, you're going to set up your cubicle, have health history vitals. You have 1 hour to do this. Anesthesia, probe whatever you're doing, complete your CBC form, and submit your patient. If you're late, you get points off. Okay, so don't be late. Once you do that, the instructors check, yep, this patient qualifies. We send them back to you. You have 2 hours to scale off whatever you submitted. Again, on time.
Do you have any suggestions on how to find patients like this? Because in clinic, I haven't had any patients that would even come close to meeting these requirements.
Okay, so a lot of times they're going to be friends of friends. One thing I would like you to do is go back to your big and say, who was your board patient? They probably have 3 other quadrants that are still there hanging out. Call your big and find out where that patient is, what's left on that patient. Okay, because that's a place to start. Lucille?
I volunteer for the kids program in San Bernardino, and one of the guys I volunteer with works here. He said that there are a lot of patients that their parents will come for testing.
Okay.
If you would like, and they haven't seen.
So talk to Lucille and hook up with her on getting some of these patients in. Some of you know people, they won't qualify, but they'll have a brother, a sister, a mom, or a dad, or a cousin, or a whatever that qualifies. That's where you're going to find it. May not be somebody you know, but it's somebody they know. Naveen.
I just want to get one thing just to make sure. So this summer, we should focus on our adult prophy and the 2 eligibilities.
Mm-hmm. Or one of the eligibility, at least get one. I would say about half of you will get all of your eligibilities done this summer. But if you don't, it's okay. You still have to go into the fall to do it, but you need to be able to finish it by the fall in order to start taking your CBCs. Some of you may take a CBC at the end of fall. Some of you won't start until winter. And that's okay. But some of you just want to be on it and you want to be the first to take your CBC, great. Yes, Laura.
So if I have a patient that has calculus like that's connected distal, facial, mesial, would that be one click or would that be three? Okay.
Wait, how many fingers did you put up?
3.
Oh, 3, okay.
So if the patient, she said if the patient has a distal, a facial, and a mesial, is that 3 different clicks? Yes, it's 3 different pieces of calculus.
Even if it's all one big chunk?
Yep, because we count it by surface.
Alright.
So if they have wall-to-wall calculus here in the lower anterior, that's 4 surfaces. But remember on this, you can only do 4 surfaces on the lower anterior to count it. So
And the calculus can be supragingival, or does it have to be subgingival?
it has to be sub, but usually if
Okay.
you have supra, you have sub.
Oh,
Almost always. Yes.
For CBCs, is there a day where we're bringing them in to screen them?
No, you book it anytime before.
So not during our own clinic,
During your own clinic.
just to see how many clicks they have, then they can leave.
Well, you're going to collect data. You have to do all the prelim
Because I
stuff.
thought
You have to do all that stuff. No.
Doing all of that.
No, that's all done ahead of time.
Okay.
Yes.
Just another, going back to the adult prophy exam.
Okay, guys, listen up. Adult prophy.
I just wanted to tag on to what Sabine was saying. We can, so say if we did someone already for a cleaning, like we brought someone for our
Like in
first-
March, like your first adult prophy. That's
Yeah.
in March. Awesome. Bring them in sometime before August 22 and 23. Get all your data, all the stuff you need, and then book them up for one of those other days to clean. That's 6 months from when you had it.
Okay, I just
Mhm.
want to double check.
That's where you're going to find adult prophy. It's your bigs, someone you saw previously, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You have a patient for that already, right?
I don't know, because I think my kid was in like April, so is that too soon?
No.
No?
April, May, June, July, August. Let's double check it, because it was beginning of April. I'll let you go, because that's like almost 5 months. Okay. All right. Any questions on the adult prophy? You clear what you're looking for? Yes? Basic, easy, simple prophy. Okay, are you clear on the eligibility? How many pieces of clickable calculus are we looking for? 10. 10 pieces of moderate to heavy clickable calculus. Does it have to be in one quadrant? No. Is it ideal? Sure. Okay, it may be 2 quadrants combined. All right. I'm not going to worry about the SRP or the CBC, but I just wanted to tell you what's coming ahead so you can start using some of these same people for all the different things. Plus, if you get one of these patients that have all of that quadrants, you get all your anesthesia. Boom, 1 quarter done. Yes?
Do you have these PowerPoint posted?
Yes, I do. They're in your modules.
Do you get the half eligibility? Maybe it's for like half percent only.
You get a half in eligibility, so you need 1.5 more because you have to have 2.
we need 2 eligibilities to move on to the.
To take a CBC.
CBC.
So she's saying if I got a half, I said now you're going to need 1.5 more. Could be, but if you don't have a patient, I'd take a half. Maybe you'll get a half, and a 1. Or maybe you'll get a 1, and that patient has another half, 5 more pieces, and you can just do this, and then you have your 1.5. Yes.
Do we know the dates for our CBCs for next quarter yet?
Nope. We don't even know. And you won't know until fall. Just like the schedule keeps changing.
So for the eligibility, so one day we bring them in, we do all our data, and then we would touch calculus at all.
You might be able to if you had time. Sometimes if you get quick enough, you can chart and go, oh yeah, I think this quadrant, okay, I'm going to attempt a half an eligibility now.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you could do it, depends. Oftentimes not, but if you're speedy and you could at least do half, you do half. But remember, you have to usually are giving anesthesia, so that's going to take time too. So you got stuff going on. And plus, if they're that bad, oftentimes you need to spend more time doing OHI so that you're not taking off all this calculus and not showing them how to keep it clean. after
So
you're
for the
done.
most part, we'll do 2 appointments for that. Okay.
Majority.
And then we want to tell them don't do anything to your mouth.
Don't floss. Don't floss.
But not breakfast.
Yeah, no. As long as it's there. And what you need to be careful about any of these testing, whether it's CBC, SRP, whatever, if it's a patient who is fairly young and they're just building some clicks, if you explore too hard, sometimes the calculus comes off. And then that's why we check it the day that you take the test, because sometimes the calculus is not there that it was there before, because so many faculty are checking it. So just being careful and how you explore.
So when we get the patient for the adult prophy, we just, what is it that we need to do?
Somebody tell Nana what he's supposed to do.
Ain't nobody know.
Somebody tell him.
For adult prophy?
Yeah.
You need to get it approved.
So it'll come in twice. The first time.
No, I know, but let's say I got the patient already. Let's say I have the patient ready now. What do I need to what do I need to do next?
Okay, get an appointment for them to come in August 22 or 23 and tell them hang tight.
And use them for injections. We don't need that first.
No, but you have to get him before then, right?
You have to, that person has to come in before the test date
Yeah.
to collect all the data
Let's get
and
approved.
get the pre-approval form filled out and to give them injections because they're your friend or family.
So we could screen any time for adult prophy
Yep.
in our clinic.
Yep. Like you could say, hey Jeanette, I have a screening patient for my adult prophy. Can you book my cousin on this date? Yeah, or hold that for you. Yes.
I know you said we can't use our classmates, but can we use other students in the school?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We get dental students too. The problem with dental students though is oftentimes they have to come in and it's fast. So like instead of getting 4 hours for a clinic, you only get 2 because they have class at 10 or they have class from 8 to 10 and now you have them from 10 to 11:30. So that's why they're harder, but you can use them, yes.
So if you bring another major student, do they get discount? Because they have.
They have insurance, yes. So it's free.
It's free for them.
Yes.
But they have to be enrolled, I think.
Yes, they have
What
to
if
be
they're in
enrolled.
summer?
So a lot of them
For
are not
nursing.
enrolled in the summer, so you have to be careful. They have to be eligible for the insurance now. So let's say I'm a, I don't know, PT student. I have no idea, but I don't have summer classes. They don't have insurance when they're not a student. So you have to be careful about that. But worst case scenario, how much is it? That's like a week of Starbucks. Right? Okay. Any questions on what we covered? I know it's a lot and it's just like blowing your head out. But I wanted to give you an overview of what we're doing just so you know what's coming. Miss Ellington will go into details about the SRP comp and the CBCs and what to do. And she'll also be talking about eligibility because some of you will not be done with eligibilities. Okay? I'm sorry?
Eligibilities for CBC.
Yes. Doing an eligibility to say, yep, I've worked on some hard patients. I don't want you to go into a CBC and never worked on a hard patient and then fail. So I want you to be able to say, I've worked on a hard patient, I'm ready.
Trophies and eligibilities are me.
Yep. Has anyone found their case presentation patient yet? Don't forget you have that in this class. It's an ongoing thing. So think about it, work with that. All right. Anything else? Yes.
Do we have to have that complete by this quarter?
Yep. End of the quarter. It's due in August, the end of August. So start looking for someone that you learn a bunch of stuff on. Christian, you might consider that patient today. Yeah. Okay. Naveen.
Can I consider my patient today because she was semi-supine because she has.
Absolutely. Did you learn stuff? Did you learn a ton of stuff? Did you have to change how you treated the patient? That's your patient. Okay. It's not that hard to find that patient. No, you don't need their consent. If you need to take photos, you can have someone taking a photo of you working on that patient from far away, where they're showing you standing up and why you had to do that. Okay, and what medical condition did she have that she had to be semi-supine? Okay. Bronchitis?
No. It's bronchi something. I'll get it next time.
Okay, but it was a medical condition, so now you had to change your treatment because of a medical condition, because you couldn't access. That's a perfect patient. So get some photos that you can include with your case presentation of someone from different angles or how you worked it. Do that.
Maybe someone that we worked on, maybe one of the mission trips.
Nope.
Okay.
Oh. They have to be a patient of record here.
Where's the information on that again? I know you mentioned it last quarter.
I'm actually.
Is that one of our?
Thank you, thank you.
But it's 4 hours. Really?
You don't have to find it now. I can just come.
Okay, so here's what we're talking about next week. Ms. Lennon's coming in to talk with you about your OSCE promotion competency. She's going to give you an orientation. She's going to talk to you about a little bit more on treatment planning. And then the following Monday, you have Victorville orientation. And then the following week after that, I'm doing your case presentation and axiom review and all of that stuff. Okay? So I'm kind of, and I think may cancel that and do anesthesia, but I may do case presentation and do anesthesia in July, at the end of July. There's just a couple of things we need to get going because you need to know your OSCE stuff. And I want to make sure you have that first because your test is the following week after that. Okay? Are you guys good with that? Okay, I just blew you out, so have a nice evening. If any of you want to chat with me for a few minutes, I have a few minutes. I could see probably 2 or 3 at the most. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my office.
Are you going to your
I don't know.
Man.
Yeah.
This presentation thing.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just like so confused.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you. Did I find someone?
Yeah. Okay.
So, I read it.
Oh, yeah.
What else?
Oh, shoot. I have to go up. I have to check all my stuff. Yeah.
Why didn't you check your computer?
We can do that now, right?
You go through the website.
Through the website. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Most likely you do.
Yeah. I think we all have patients now. Really?
I just scheduled one today.
Yeah.
And I scheduled another one for Thursday with my wife.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't have one.
Oh, okay. I should check. Just open it? Okay. I guess So if you just put what? Hello.
Hello, John. You're so lucky that you have a young
Okay,
one. All my patients are over 80. I have a 91 tomorrow. 90, yes. Nursing. So cool. Yes.
Okay, no.
Oh, wow. It's just
no, not that one.
it's like half of the speed.
Oh, it is.
That's the only downside.
So you can access this at home?
Yeah.
And you're old, maybe. Maybe.
Oh, it is? So no, let me take a screenshot.
I heard the same thing. Okay.
And then as I was continuing
Jeez, I was about to say just put it as a no. I mean,
Oh, right.
just click on it.
Yeah, right here.
You just click on it and drag it down.
Oh, you did?
Yes. I want to make sure.
We've done that.
Last one. Wow. That's funny.
Yeah, you're fine. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, so.
one of them, no, other one, she's like, and she like, not quite there enough. And then we did it again. And I was just like, another one? She reached out for each, yes. My confidence.
Gutierrez.
And I'm just like, so,
Bridge. Oh, like for your family?
did this take? And I was just like, a lot. And then she was like, yeah, no, it's not gonna count. So you didn't fill out a paper? No. Okay, put it.
25, 76.
If she didn't take, I think it's just because
Health history, so I just have to update the health history.
no, I was going to be like, even though I know like my stuff.
Mental hospital.
You could not push that thing back and get that last one. Too. I failed on this one because I was, well, I started, I did incisors, I was like, okay, that's gonna be my reason. And I finished, you're only allowed two, so I was like, okay, that's for sure number one. Do everything, and then when I got to these ones, Amy, she's like, okay, she learns here, but use that as your premolar.
So I just have to control R then.
Use it, move this one here. So I still have this one empty. Alright, and I did that on the other side too. She does it for me and she messes up. So she does a retake. So I'm like, or retakes her hair. I was like, should I even fill out a paper? She's like,
I get nervous. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I know you're helping me when I want to.
and then she's like, you need to look at your landmark. I'm like, it's there. And then she kept telling me, oh, well, you have it in this image. You should be fine. You don't need a retake for that. I'm like, yeah, why can't I fill out the paper?
Exactly. I had the same thing happen to me because like I felt like some of the pictures they had it in other ones. So she's like, no, I want you to retake it. And then like I would ask someone else and they're like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, wait. Can I get this over yet? Like, and I was just like,
So this I have to redo because it's been 7 months.
it was gold.
6
Yeah,
months?
it was hard. But it's okay. I started my OHR and my patient might be an eligibility or half eligibility. So
Just a couple.
kind of ended out like okay, but like I'm still like salty about like.
Oh, she graduated.
Yeah, Why? Did
Yeah?
you leave her in
Yeah,
the
she was
lobby
a
and
big-
then you went back to clean, or you brought her back all the way to?
That's why you just had to give 6 months wait.
I left her in clinic, and
I
then
don't know
or
what
you
that
told her
is.
to go
Why
back
should-
there, you know where we are. I brought my patient all the way back to clinic, and then I came back, and I already seen Barbie
They're gonna have that to you.
and the Barbie was already cleaning.
Just want
I
to
just
see.
did a picture and I said, okay, like that's the door, and then just go out and then like head back to our
Cleaning.
cubicle. I
Should
didn't
be
want to
boxed,
go
too.
all the way because I didn't want to
And sometimes they don't even make it at least.
If it hasn't, do you want to go upstairs and order it? How's about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like trying to.
Okay. See how recent the
Like I was walking them out, and then she's like,
It has to be like 5. Wait,
so then
how
I
many?
knew
How old are
I
they?
knew
Like
this
5
time,
months?
I was like, okay, I'm not going to be
Oh, not 5
It could be a
months.
couple years.
It's like J-Box.
Did you do any comps today, or no? That was the one I wanted to do. Make sure you get there super early, to navigate everything.
I mean, if you have a clinic, you're gonna go. You're gonna have. She got in 6 months old. Let's see what she
Because that's just her panicking and her patients are flustered. Yeah, yeah, it's so hard. I needed to get her early enough to where I'm not like that, and I remember everything, because that's when I get
She's
flustered.
been here, like, she was here in April. The main thing.
Maybe that could be one of my.
Probably for the extraction.
Yeah. What do you need to improve on? Breathing?
Could you get
Breathing?
yeah.
Remembering. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that tomorrow morning.
J-Box. So I should.
No.
So I need to go through OHI again and then build off of that.
Well, you check. If she goes to your table, she's good.
Yeah.
To your table, to your chair, she's good.
Yeah.
And that means that she's been following these.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should be for that.
I think that was the first time. January 23rd.
There's no way they're gonna say
Oh,
that to
yeah.
them.
No, she's been here since 16. Oh, she got. 2015 period.
Damn, that's a long ass.
I know, what the hell, man? Treatment list. You're good. Should be, yeah, it should be easy. Just get the data. I mean, do the vitals, all that stuff, and then go to OHI scale. But okay. I talked to Grace last night. She so like basically what in the board of the meeting this woman, Dr. Wright from histology. Carrie's professor, the board guy. Was there. It was like I think like a few other administration. And they talk to you, they ask you a few questions, they ask you a few questions, and then after 1 hour, they ask you to step outside of the room. Yeah, like 1 hour discussing with you. They have a vote of who wants you to stay or who doesn't want you to stay, but it's all anonymous, nobody knows who voted. And then once that meeting is done, they transfer all that information to the dean, and the dean says, kicked out of the state.
Right there?
I think the finger. Oh, not the finger. Yeah. And then
then you should know what's gonna get.
yeah. So now she's doing an appeal. She's trying to get back in the program, but in order to do that, she has to come next year, like start fresh from next year.
Fresh.
Yeah.
They call the classes.
Yeah. Take it all over again. So she'll be our little thing. But yeah, she wants to. She wants to do it. Would you do it? Yeah.
I will take the classes I have and I will go work in a dentist or something like that. I will just go by for at least for now.
Yeah.
Because
that's the yeah.
I don't know what's her position, but in my case, right now, I have.
Oh, you have a kid, yeah.
Not just that, baby. I have a big rock loan.
Oh, that too, yeah.
That's there, my friend. I'm not going away.
Yeah. Oh no, actually, if that doesn't get approved, so then she doesn't have to pay tuition for that year.
I know, but how about what she owes right now?
Wait, what?
What she owes. Right
Oh yeah, she has to.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on her case. Maybe there's some people here that are paying out of pocket.
Oh yeah.
They're not taking loans.
Yeah. I'm doing half.
I'm doing all in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Ah.
You know what?
Came through. Yeah. So, you're thinking of leaving today, or you just still come back the next day?
I already
Would be like cooperative? Yeah. Maybe you just talk to each other and see if you want to do it.
No, you're already.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I can do that. He's good about coming in. Oh, okay.
And I was
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have to get transcripts on two different departments or on one? Yeah. Good. I know a few people. What? Well, you know, for eligibility? Actually, that one might be hard. Oh, okay. Is that something whistling at us? I know. That was a yeah. Eligibility. Oh, like a full FMX? Oh, so you said they don't take students okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So you did get some
But if not, all of them posterior.
Wait, so who's gonna do the counter though? Do we don't do Oh. Shut the fuck up. You motherfuckers.
Lakers. I'll get a little bit to the Lakers one, but I want to talk about this new rule first.
Hi, how are you? Hi, doing good.
Check out the track. You already haven't seen
Can I get a 3x3?
That requires. Let's talk about this.
Yeah,
rule.
can I get
First and
half
foremost,
grilled onions
what the rule
and
change is
half
that
fresh
NBA
onions?
coaches will not be able to challenge
So
one
both
play
onions?
per game.
Yeah, both
They'll have
onions.
one challenge flag.
And then one animal style fry.
Whenever there's a bad call.
And water cup.
Or whenever there's basketball interference.
Yeah, and that's all.
Out of bounds play that UMP was ruled properly. So, I think it's going to be pretty good because
Thank you.
there's only one challenge flag per game. So, if I'm the Lakers, right, head coach Frank Vogel, I'm holding onto that flag unless it's like a game-changing play, or it's like one of those plays where it's changing momentum the other way. You know, know, they're still gonna have, you know, the NBA boardroom review in place from up top, obviously. They're still gonna be doing stuff like that. But what do you guys think of this new rule change? I think it's gonna be very good. There are many plays that don't get called sometimes. You can challenge it, or goaltending that doesn't get called. You can challenge it, especially just like down the stretch of a game.
From
I
the
think
fairly
it's
odd
crucial.
turn.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? I'm glad y'all like the track, man. That's what's up. Thanks, man. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, man. I told you guys I was gonna come straight from the chest, man. I was gonna come from the heart. Obviously, I'm not happy with the way we've been disrespected for years, so you know I had to get it off my chest. Hey, what's up? What's up, Art of War? What's up, Steve? Bro, why can't they use the timeouts instead? Here's the thing about the whole timeout thing. They're still gonna be reviewing plays that you know from up top that the league officers believe are not called properly, right? They're still going to be doing that. But on top of that, we get a challenge. It's like a flag, just like the NFL, where obviously, you know, they're trying to slow down the game because there's only one per game.
Oh.
It's ridiculous. So, all in all, I think it's really good, man. I think it's really, really good for the league, for them to try to crack down on stuff. Maybe it's like a, let's say, let me give you a scenario. The Lakers are up by 1 point, or the Lakers are trailing a point, and then Kyle Kuzma comes down the lane, does like a spin move, and lays it up, but they call a charge, right? Because James Harden took a block. However, Frank Vogel goes down the challenge flag, and
He's just good
it
at
turns out that James Harden was moving or still in a restricted area. That could be the difference in a game right there. Instead of getting called a charge, it could be a 3-point play. You can get the momentum back late in the game. So I think, yeah, we only get one chance, but I think it could be crucial if a coach uses it properly. I'm doing good, Renee. How you doing? Doing great. Dan, I like your disc track. I'm glad you like that, Eddie, man. Definitely trying to push that. I already had a couple of producers hitting me up trying to edit my track, so I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you guys for retweeting it as well. I basically wrote that the night before I released it. I started writing it, and I woke up like at 5 in the morning, finished writing it, recorded it, and then I edited the video all in one day and threw it out for you guys. I was really excited about the project, so I started taking a break. So I'm glad you guys like it, man. Hard work, stay up. The Clippers moving to Seattle after the district? That's what's up, man. Dreams come true. That was me singing for sure, man. That was me singing and rapping, bro. I did my best. So what's up, Dan? Crazy no rules, totally gonna be interesting. It is interesting. And one thing I talked about the commissioner coming in, implementing good rules. Now, I don't like the one where he's trying to cut down on the regular season and, put in tournaments. He's putting soccer, right? But, I mean, I do like some of these rules. I think that's definitely one of them. The challenge, right? I think I don't remember if we talked about it on this channel before, but I think it is good for real. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I've been rapping since I was a kid, man. Growing up in Compton, we used to just, gather around a circle and brag on each other and just rap. So that's second nature to me. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks, Alfred. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? He said, can it be used to overturn a bad foul call by the ref? Yes. I read the article and it says that you can challenge a foul. If you don't think it was a foul, you can challenge it. So that's going to be crucial. Again, it could be a late game situation. Again, I'm going to use James Harden because he's one of the biggest blockers as an example, right? I'll say this. James Harden comes down the lane and he's probably, and let's say our guy Anthony Davis jumps in there, but he goes straight up. And James Harden jumps into his body, draws the foul, gets the and one late in the game. We can challenge that call and say, hey, he jumped into his body, and they could overturn that, call it offensive foul. It can be used, but if I'm the head coach, I'm teaching that to the end of the game, or if there's like a game-changing play, right? Thanks, bro. I appreciate it, John. Thank you, man. I'm glad you guys like it, for real. Who just talked about the Lakers versus the Clippers at the FC, man? I'm going to check that out later. For sure, I'm going to check it out. Saying that last track was fire. Thanks, bro. Thanks. Go ahead and, hey, if you already haven't checked it out, please drop a like. It helps push it out there, man. Like I said, I already had a couple of people hitting me up trying to